advance. What's going on, everybody? This is LaBWork, special edition, part 4 of recruiting in the pandemic. We appreciate all the support and the love we have gotten everywhere I go. And I talked to Coach Yah a bunch of times. Everywhere he goes, it's just been very positive and upbeat about the information that we're giving. We didn't even know how this would go, to be honest with you. You know, it was kind of just an idea we threw together. It was really more supposed to be about highlights and stuff. And then we got to just talking one day and it turned into this. So I'm glad you guys like it. And as we do, we're going to jump right into it. We don't like to do a whole bunch of talking in the beginning. We got some big news on the way. And I'm really unsure if a lot of people know about this, Coach Yah. So it's going to be interesting. We're going to try to break it down. And we're going to start off with the new rule changes and kind of how do you think it's going to impact high school seniors and junior prospects going forward. First of all, if you can explain the rules, what and then how to impact the players.
Can you hear me? Okay, no, you had broke. Sorry, you had broke up there for a second.
I can.
The new rule. So now there's a new transfer rule that's coming into play in 2021, where you're going to be able to transfer one time without penalty. So that means you can transfer without a penalty.
Now, just to make sure I'm clear. Yep. So the second time, it's the regular rule where you sit out for a year.
It's the regular rule. So
unless you get a waiver like they've been doing anyway.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if a student athlete chooses a school and they go to that school and whatever happens, they want to transfer, they have the opportunity to transfer without penalty and be able to play right away. If they transfer again, they get a penalty.
Okay.
Where they will have to sit out.
I'm going to let you finish, but as much as I don't like this rule, I do want to make sure everybody knows that this rule has been in place for all Olympic sports. It's really only football, men's basketball, women's basketball that has not had this rule. All the other sports, you've been able to do this the whole time, which I'm sure a lot of people didn't even know. So this is now just being into men's basketball. Go ahead.
Then there's a pandemic rule going on right now. I like to call it the pandemic rule.
It is, though.
Where seniors, student athletes that are seniors this coming year that are playing in a winter sport can come back and not lose their scholarship. So they can get a 5th year as what I would like to call a super senior, which I think is good because of the pandemic. But if we do get to play the whole year out, I'm kind of torn on that rule, because if you get to play the year out, obviously the year is not going to be without fans and things of that nature. And you play, obviously you play, you want to have fans, you want to get the whole, what's the word I'm looking for there? Experience. You want to get the whole experience of college and playing. Fans. But I mean, if seniors are able to come back, I don't know what's going to happen to these freshmen. So we can leave that into our conversation.
That's the big question for me. And then the other part is, so if you're a freshman this year, are you a freshman again next year? That's what I'm not understanding. Is it just for seniors or is it for everybody? Like, who is it for?
I think it's just for seniors. Because obviously seniors won't get the same experience as they would have gotten had we not been in a pandemic. So I think personally, this is going to impact this group of freshmen that's coming in, the 21s. Okay. Because right now, well, let me just explain it this way. Recruiting right now is not very good. I mean, because it's a pandemic, coaches can't come out. It's different. It's different than it's been in most years, like we've discussed on the show. Mm-hmm. Coaches tend to now, with the transfer portal being the way it is, to usually recruit off the transfer portal before they even recruit freshmen. Not because they don't think freshmen are good enough, but because they don't think most freshmen are ready to play right away, which most freshmen are not. They're not ready to play day one. But if you got a guy that's been playing at a school and he can come to your school, obviously without penalty, you're probably going to have a guy that has more experience in playing in college basketball than a high school senior. So I think both of these rules are going to affect the seniors.
So that was my topic was, my part of the topic was what college coaches are going to think. So as people, I don't even know if the general fan or the general student athlete or the general parent has even paid attention. But there's been a trend where, as you just said, college coaches have felt more comfortable bringing in grad transfers or transfers because they're more experienced, They've played in college games against college level competition. And it's just you're a little bit more certain that they're able to play at whatever level you're at. With a high school kid, you're going off of, you're assuming that they'll be able to play at whatever level. You're hoping that they will be able to pick up whatever concepts. They'll be physical enough to handle the physicality. They'll be able to pick up the speed of the game. They'll be able to handle a longer season, the academics, the grind, everything. You're hoping. You don't know.
You have no clue.
You have no clue. But a grad transfer at whatever level they played at, especially if they've scored points consistently and been the guy on their team. Now, it doesn't always work out this way. A lot of grad transfers, in my opinion, should have stayed at whatever level they were at. No, if you look at the ratio of grad transfers that have come from lower levels to high majors, very few of them have done well. Very few. But if you look from high major, that now they've been tremendous because they've been playing against higher level, more physical guys.
Say that again, because I think they might have lost you when you said that. Say that one more time, because you were breaking up. Say that.
If you look at the ratio, okay. So if you look at grad transfers and you look at guys who have transferred from a lower level, whether it's a low major or mid major, to a BCS level school, they have not done well. Not all. A low percentage has done well.
Very low.
Let's put it like that. A very low percentage has done well. But if you look at the ratio of guys who come from a high major, a BCS level, down to a lower level, a grad transfer, those guys have done really, really, really well.
Yes.
And it's for a couple of reasons. Maybe it's because they're at the right level that they should be at.
Yes.
Or just because of the level of preparation they've had playing against higher level guys on a consistent basis. And that have to kind of showcase their. So we always talk about choosing the right school, the right situation. We talked about it in a couple of different shows. The right school in the right situation is the school that fits your style of play, but also the coach is going to allow you to make mistakes for whatever reason.
Yes.
Because you're a guy that either you're one of his top recruits, a guy he really believes in. If it's a new coach, you're one of his first recruits, and they're going to make sure that their first recruits do well. That's guaranteed.
Yeah.
Or if you're ranked, you have a ranking, or if you're in a, we've talked about this again, and I know a lot of coaches cringe every time we say this, but it's the truth. If you're a local guy and guys take you, they want you to do well because they want to continue to recruit locally.
Yeah.
Now, does that mean that they're just not going to play a guy that's from somewhere else who's outplaying him? No, that does not mean that. I don't want people to think that. That's not what we're saying. But we're saying if it's even, they're going to give the local guy the benefit of the doubt because they need him to do well so they can continue to recruit locally, because it's easier to recruit locally than it is from out of state.
True.
Fair. Is that fair?
That's fair. I just want parents and student athletes to understand that these rules are going to affect you.
Yeah.
So gone are the days of waiting around. I got 26 offers. Putting it all on Twitter. Not saying you can't do that, but at the end of the day, you need to figure out what your schools are and make sure you visit them, do your research on them, and try to make a decision. Because if that transfer rule holds up, which it is going to hold up, where you can transfer without a penalty, it's going to be very hard on some freshmen to get scholarship offers. Now, the top of the top, it probably won't change. I'll just be honest with you. 1 to 100, 1 to 75, it probably won't hurt you that much, but it can, because college coaches are always trying to look to get older. Most of the times in the NCAA, older teams win. That's just a fact. Mm-hmm. Not saying that freshmen can't win. Not saying that freshmen haven't been successful, because Kentucky does it, Duke does it, but those are the schools that I said that usually does it. And those are
because only a couple of them.
They get the upper echelon kids that are ready to come in and play right away. And even some of those kids are not ready to play right away, but it's so many of them and their talent level is so high that they end up being successful, and the learning curve is a little bit shorter. But parents and student athletes, understand, gone are the days of you having 25 offers and waiting around, because most of these schools are not going to wait around on you, because the transfer portal is going to be even bigger. So the pool of players will be bigger, because they're going to be, there are a lot of transfers with penalties. So what do you think is going to be now that you don't really have a penalty? So you can transfer one time without penalty. So that pool of players in the transfer portal is going to be very big. Then you got your pool of freshmen, incoming freshmen or high school seniors that you're going to be trying to pull from. And a lot of times, because of the hoopla behind recruiting these days, which is nothing wrong with it. This is the times we have to get used to the times. But goner is a little bit of the hoopla, because if you're waiting around, somebody's going to take your scholarship. And it's probably going to be an older guy, and they're going to be looking for a transfer guy that may have played some minutes somewhere else and probably average, 8 to 10 points. It could be 6 to 8 points, because 6 to 8 points in college is a lot of points on the board that people don't really think. Like, we look down the bench and look, oh man, we get 6 to 8. You get 6 to 8 points out of somebody, that's consistent.
You got to do that to get 8 points. He can play.
Exactly.
You feel good about him. Yeah.
Exactly. You feel really good about it. And I think parents and student athletes need to understand, man, they need to go look at these rules and they need to ask questions. Get in our DMs, email us, because this is going to change the landscape of recruiting, and parents and student athletes need to understand this.
So this kind of filters into our next topic, but I'm gonna still stay on the first topic because you always let me get off and start talking about. Stop letting me do that. Stop letting me do that.
Hey man, they need this information. It's good information.
So what I was supposed to do was give what the idea of college coaches are now, why this is going to the new rules are going to impact them. Okay, all right, I'm locked back in now. So if you're a high school kid and you want to wait late, and we talked about this a bunch.
Yes,
waiting late. I think you could bet on yourself before and end up going to a bigger school, a better situation, and to work out for you before. I hate to say this because it's your life, your decision. I would not do it this year. I'm telling you right now, you need to try to get an early offer that you feel good in this big situation in the pandemic. And I might say for the next couple of years until this whole thing calms down. And the reason I say that is I'm a college coach. I have to win. All right. So my choice is a freshman in high school. A high school senior that averaged 16, 17 points a game, all state. He's a good player, but he's playing against competition that's just okay. AAU was bad this year because people couldn't travel around the country. There was no big circuits. I don't really know. But I also got a kid who played at, I hate to use schools, University of Jacksonville. He averaged 16 points a game. He was freshman of the year, second team all conference. I'm going to take that kid from Jacksonville 10 times out of 10.
You're telling the truth.
It's no question in my mind I got to take the kid from Jacksonville.
You're telling the truth.
If he averaged double digits in college, I love this one, a good player. And I know he's a good player. Does that mean he'll average double digits at whatever level I'm at? No, it might not mean that. But he's proven that he can handle the grind of college, score at a consistent basis. He has some skill that translates to whatever my program is. I know that right away. Then we have grad transfers who are older guys who have been doing it for 3-4 years. They're going to bring positive energy into our locker room. They're going to bring experience into our locker room. If we can get one that's already been in a winning program and coming from a winning culture, but just got recruited over, that's even better. It's a bonus. He's won before. He understands. He gets it. He knows scouting reports. He can talk to the young guys about handling their business off the court. He can talk to them about when they travel, getting their rest. He's going to be more serious in his approach. He has a pro mentality, a pro approach, which brings a pro mentality to our program. Those are the kind of things that are going to be important. And there are also just not enough scholarships available, guys. If seniors don't have to leave, and if we're going to be 100 on here like we've been doing the whole time, some schools are going to force some seniors out, but they won't be able to force all of them out. So if you have less scholarships available, we have less opportunities to take younger guys that might need a little bit more time. So guys, do your research early, get your game film, find out if the program fits you. Don't wait around. If you like the program and if they took the offer away, you'd feel bad, take that offer now. You don't know what's going to happen late. It's going to be harder late than it's ever been before. Don't wait. That's my opinion.
No, I mean, I agree. You got to evaluate. You got to evaluate these schools. Kids that are juniors right now, student athletes that are juniors right now, start evaluating. Find film on YouTube or whatever. If you got a Synergy account or whatever you can do, start evaluating some of these schools that are calling you that have offered you scholarships. Do your evaluations early, because those scholarships may not be around. It's just gonna be. The pool just got bigger. The pool just got bigger. It just got bigger, and it got bigger with better players. Not so much better players, older,
more experienced.
Yes.
And there's no substitute for experience.
There's none. There's no substitute for experience. So I just want these parents and student athletes to understand these rules. And again, if you have questions, make sure you email us. Make sure you DM whatever you have, whatever you can do, call, whatever you need to do, so we can better explain this to you, because it's going to be hard to explain. And most colleges are not going to explain it, because if I was recruiting, I really don't have time to explain it to you. I can explain it to you, but at the end of the day, hey man, the pool of players just got bigger. I got to recruit. You know what a lot of people don't realize, when you send your son or daughter, there's a lot of pressure on college coaches. There's just a lot. It just is what it is. That's the profession. It's a profession we choose, but there's a lot of pressure. And
gotta win.
So coaches are gonna do whatever it takes to win, because that's how they feed their family. So yes, the relationships, all that, and you're trying to help kids. I always try to help student athletes. I always try to do whatever I could to help them progress in life and help them to be functional members of society. Mm-hmm. But the end goal was to always win.
And we would tell them that upfront and honest, no confusion.
Yes, that the end goal is to win, because it's just like a parent at their job. You got to work. If you don't work, your kids don't eat.
If you don't do your job at a high level, whatever your job is, they'll bring somebody else in. That's how it works.
And that's just what it is. So, and we have a lot of eyes on us as college coaches. You know, they want you to win every game. The pressure is to win. Fans especially want you to win every game. So just understand this stuff, man. Again, do your research. Look up the rule. It's an NCAA rule book. Google
Start talking to the coaches that's recruiting you about the rule and what they think about the rule. Yes. Now, one thing you don't know about college coaches is, and I try my best not to do this. I know Coach Ja, he wouldn't do this either. He tried his best not to do it. It's a gray area sometimes. We try to be honest and tell the truth, but all coaches don't like that. I know dudes right now that are straight up lie to you in a heartbeat and do whatever's best for their job, their program.
That's just reality.
Used car salesman. So, yes. But the more you talk to us and the more questions you ask, we can only trick you for so long. So if you continue to dialogue with us and bring questions out of us and ask us questions of substance, at some point we have to tell you the truth. You're either going to catch us off guard, or you just back us into a hole and we have to tell you the truth. So Don't get on the phone and be quiet and be bashful and ask questions. This is important. This is the most important decision you're going to make up until this point.
This is to ask questions. Don't ask about playing time.
Yeah,
that's not what you need to ask about.
We can't even answer that anyway. We don't even know how you're going to react.
Exactly. So this, again, please reach out, because this rule is going to change college basketball. It's going to change college basketball. And if your son plays football, it's going to change. It's going to change everything. All right. The pool of players just got bigger. It got a lot bigger. Bigger than the 150 rivals and all this. I wouldn't be worried about rankings. I'll be worried about, okay, these are the schools that's recruiting me. All right, these are schools I'm going to look at. And that's what I'm going with. And I'm going to do my research and see, okay, which one of these schools best fits my game. Best fits my game. And is an institution that I can get a good education
and do something with moving forward.
Exactly.
Let's talk quickly about me and you haven't even had this conversation, so I'm interested to get your thoughts. Signing early versus signing late. So signing early or committing early, I think is a good thing and let me tell you why I think it's a good thing. When you commit early, let's say you commit in July of your junior year. So at the end of your junior year, going into your senior year. All right. So when you committed early, a couple things happen. If you're a kid who has grade issues, and I don't want to say like you're about to be ineligible, but you're on the borderline of becoming eligible for college, now that staff puts together an academic plan for you.
Yes.
Makes a relationship with your counselor. It's on you constantly making sure that everything you're doing is going forward to make sure that you do everything NCAA compliant to become eligible. That's the first thing, academically. Also, people don't understand you got to apply early, just like regular students. Get in school, make sure you take care of all your applications for the dorms. All that stuff has to get done and taken care of. So the earlier that you're committed to that program, the earlier that you can get a jump start on all those things and have less hurdles moving into, you don't need any distractions going into playing because it's difficult as it is. So the quicker you get all this stuff done, the other thing you get is the coaches start becoming a little bit more real with you once you've committed. So let's say you committed in July, but you still have 2 tournaments left. When you play bad in a tournament now, the coach is not going to be reluctant to say, hey, y'all, you know, you played okay today. I didn't like the way you got back in transition defense. You took a couple bad shots in the first game earlier today. I thought those were forces. Be a little bit more patient. Move without the ball. You're getting coached now. Now you're getting coached by your college staff already.
Yes.
They're sending you film of things that they do so that you can understand and get incorporated with their program. They're starting to teach you terminology. They're talking about the style of play. You're already being coached. You're already becoming a better player because you've committed to that staff. Now the relationship is different. You're family now. You're not a kid we're recruiting. We're not recruiting 4 or 5 kids. You're part of the family. When you come to practice, you're in the locker room. You're hanging out with the guys. You're getting comfortable with the guys. You're in the dorms. Like you're one of the guys. Your comfort level is everything in college. The more comfortable you are with everything, whether that's coaches, players, managers, the better you're going to play. The longer it takes you to get assimilated into the program, the more difficult it is unless your talent level is just so high. And we keep saying, and I think you guys think we're talking bad about you, your talent level is not as high as you think it is.
Never is.
Everybody in college is good. Everybody's good. So the quicker you start to become a part of the program, get committed, and start getting coached, the better you'll be. Now, we've never had this conversation before. I'm really interested to see what your thoughts are on that.
Well, I mean, I agree with you because I think once you get that stuff out of the way, the pressure is off. You don't have a bunch of coaches calling you. You know, you don't have to pick up your phone. You can concentrate on your game. You can concentrate on your schoolwork. You know, so I agree. Signing early is always better to me.
Yeah.
Now, there are some pluses to signing late.
Yep.
If you're a guy that's looking for a scholarship, or somebody may have a guy that's may be about to go to the NBA, you want to wait, you really, really like that school. They may have a guy that's on the verge of maybe making the decision to leave school early. So some of those factors tie into signing late. But
those are your high-level guys, though, and they can go multiple places. Let's make sure we're clear on that.
They have people that are waiting on them. You know, you have a group of guys, you know, say top 25, top 30 that schools are pretty much wait on. You know, they have a list of schools that are basically waiting to get their services. Now, let me go back to what we talked about earlier. That may change now with the new rule. So just understand that. And I want to make that very, very clear because I want student athletes and parents to make sure they're making the right decision and they're doing their research early. So to go back to signing early, that's what that is. When you do your research early, you find a school that you like. You know, this school's been following you since you was a sophomore. You know, coach has been calling you. The head coach has been calling you and talking to you. Assistant's been talking to you. Everybody that can talk to you has been talking to you under the rules. That's big because coaches don't have a lot of time to waste. Now, some coaches do a lot of cold call and this, that, and another, but you know when you feel wanted.
You know.
Now, when you feel wanted and that's a place that you can go, signing early is great, man. I mean, signing early is great. You get it out of the way. You can concentrate on your school. You can concentrate on basketball. You know, you're not worried about, you know, people asking you where you're going to go to school, what you're going to do, this, that.
Because it can become stressful and a distraction.
It does become. Most people that are highly recruited or that are getting recruited by several schools, parents and kids have said that it gets very, very stressful. But I go back to say, they say it's stressful when it really starts getting serious. Because when you put out the 25 offers, you know, on your Twitter, oh, it's great, I'm getting called. But when that phone starts ringing and it's ringing all the time, people calling you before work. I mean, I call parents all the time. I try to catch you before work. I try to catch you after work, and I try to catch you on your lunch break.
Yeah.
Because, hey, I'm trying to get you. So the phone calls become plentiful from several universities. And, you know, so parents, take your notes, get it together. Make sure you're getting it together. Sophomores, juniors, seniors to be right now. I mean, seniors that are in the 21 class. hey man, it's about to get serious.
It's time, man. It's time.
Yes. So make sure you've done your research. You don't have time to be playing around with coaches and playing around with these situations. If you got a good situation on the table that you like and that is good for you, you need to really seriously think about taking that scholarship, because that scholarship may not be there once this pool gets bigger.
Hey, I think we're going all day about that one. We got.
Let's
try to move on to the next topic, man.
Hey, Darryl, I just want to make sure they're getting.
Me too.
I want to make sure they're getting. I want to make sure they're understanding this rule, man, because this rule is big for college basketball. It's big. It is big.
It's big for athletics. Period.
It's big for athletics. Period. You know, we mostly talk about college basketball, but it's huge. It's huge.
Let's try to move it to the next topic, man. I can't wait. I think I'm gonna let you start it off because I got a lot to say about this one. Mm-hmm. Family decision versus group decision, and that means as we're recruiting kids, and we gotta give them the truth here, y'all. They need to hear it. And some people gonna be mad. I don't even care because I'm tired of it. Our college coaches have been telling me they want to hear this topic. We got to talk about it. So when you're recruiting a kid, let's say you're recruiting two different kids. Okay. They're of equal talent. You know, it's not that much of a difference. Everything's equal. Grades, athletic ability, the whole thing. Yes. One kid, you got to talk to two trainers. You got to talk to the strength trainer, which I don't even know why you got a strength trainer, and you got to talk to the basketball trainer. Then you got to talk to his current AAU coach and his AAU coach from when he first started playing. Then you got to talk to the high school coach and his JV coach before you ain't even talked to the parents and the kids yet. But on the other side, we got a dad, we got a mom, whatever the situation may be. It might be a dad or a mom, whatever the situation may be. The kid, and then one coach, whether it be a high school coach or AAU coach. Which kid, as a staff, I want you to tell the people the truth. Which kid, as a staff, are you more comfortable recruiting?
Probably more comfortable with the kid that has less. I don't want to say.
No, you got to say it. You got to say it, y'all. This is the show. This is what we do on the show. We tell the truth.
Okay. The kid that has less people to talk to, and that's just being honest. I mean, obviously, you're going to reach out to the people that you need to reach out to. Yeah. Obviously, we're going to reach out to AAU coaches, but you know, your uncle, your aunt. I've done it. Trust me, and Darryl's done it. We've done it, and we deal with it. It's a necessary. Just understand. We understand it's a necessary evil in some situations, but it can turn you off. And when we get in those coaches meeting, we start talking about it. We like, man. I mean, your head coach gonna ask you, man. I'm not trying to talk to all them people.
The head coach not doing it. I'm just telling you right now. He's not doing it.
Yeah, I'm not talking to all them people. Talk to the mom. Talk to the dad. I may talk to the AAU coach. That's it. High school coach.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all I'm talking to. And I'm not gonna talk to them a lot. So the less people you have to talk to, most of the time is better. I'm not saying you don't need people that help you with your decision.
We're not saying that.
But the people that help you with your decision, they need to have the experience of making these type of decisions. And most of the time, no one knows a child better than their own parents because you raised them. Period.
You live with them every day. There's more value, and I learned this a long time ago. Like, if you're recruiting a kid, and I don't want to jump right. Don't forget what your thought is. Okay. I was recruiting a kid. His dad seemed like he was the more involved parent. So I was spending more time with the dad. What I took for granted was he lived with the mom. Never take for granted the person that's with them every single day. That's all I want to say. Go back.
Yeah. And that goes back to go back to what you said. That's why most of the time you talk to high school coaches, even though a lot of times you talk to high school coaches, man, I don't have nothing to do with it, man. I ain't involved in the recruit. But I'm gonna talk to that guy. You know why? Because that guy sees you every single day.
Every day.
I'm gonna talk to him. So he gonna know something that's going on. But I mean, I think you just have to cut down on the people that you are talking to because you get so much information. And when you get too much information, you can't make a sound decision. I'm not saying you can't talk to people, you can't write some stuff down, but at the end of the day, it's a decision, first off, that needs to be made as a family if the family is involved. All right, if you want to involve an AAU coach, an uncle, an aunt, or whatever, you could do that. But it shouldn't be 5 or 6 or 7 people helping you make a decision because you can't make a sound decision that way. And I know a lot of times AAU coaches help kids tremendously, and they have the experience because they've had kids that have been recruited. So I'm not saying you can't talk to an AAU coach. Bring that AAU coach in, because most AAU coaches that have done this for a long time, they don't try to make decisions for kids. They try to give you, they try to let you know, hey man, I know that coach. I know how that coach coaches. All right, be careful going over there. I like this coach. They do have relationships with AAU with college coaches, which is nothing is wrong with that. So they may push you towards somebody that they know, so they can understand and they know what's going on in the program, so they can help you get through some of the things that you're going to go through. But having, I got to talk to my AAU coach from the third grade. My uncle Bill that played at Cincinnati. He been helping me make a decision. He been through this before. Hey man, this decision is the hardest decision that you're gonna make in your life. It needs to be a sound decision, and you need to make that decision with people that know you and that can help you and that have your best interest in mind. The best interest. Period.
That was the most important thing you said out of everything you just said. Your best interest in mind. And I don't think some people, as they get involved in the decision making, they make the decision them and how it can benefit them. So that's why keeping it, I know you hear it all the time, got to keep my circle small. That's the reason you keep your circle small. And the other thing, the college, why we don't want to deal with so many different people is the way you end up getting a kid to commit is everybody gets on the same page.
Yes.
Everybody's on an understanding of what the plan is academically and athletically and how we can be of value to your son.
Yes.
If we have so many different people who have so many different ideas of what that value is and what's important and what's not important, how can we get everybody on the same? It's too many people. Everybody has different ideas. Everybody has different thoughts. We can't get everybody on the same page. What it does is it causes confusion. It causes confusion. We can't do that. We need less people to get everybody on the same page. And like you said, the parents are with you every single day. They know what's to you, and they know how you're going to react in certain situations and how you're going to respond. Everybody doesn't know that because they're not with you every single day. They've seen you in certain scenarios and they know that portion of you or that piece of you, but they don't know the whole. And I don't want this to come off as like, I think you shouldn't talk to anybody else. You should. Yes. But the college coach shouldn't have to call them, spend time with them, do it. They should talk to you, give you the information they know, whatever information they know, and then you take that information in and bring that information and ask for yourself, because you eventually have to sit in the dorm. You eventually have to sit in the locker room. You eventually have to fly on the plane. You eventually have to go in the game and play for yourself. So if you can't take control of your life in this decision, it's going to be hard for you moving forward. Now, can you make it by yourself? Probably not, because it's too important. But you have to take some ownership in it and come up with, ask the questions that you need to ask, get the help that you need to get, and not just listen and do whatever people tell you to do.
Think about it like this. I just look at it like this. Darryl, you're a parent. You have assisted or made every decision that your daughters have made.
No question about it.
You assisted or helped in every decision that they have made. And you're going to continue to do that probably for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Now, some people don't have those type of situations at home, so I get it. But you always, as a child, whether it's an uncle, cousin, whoever it is that helps take care of you, that knows you, that and you live in the house with them, they have assisted you on making the decision, on all your decisions in life.
Yeah.
Kids don't make it. You don't come out the womb making decisions. So
if you let it, because they don't understand, so they just can't make every decision.
Exactly. And I just think that needs to, I'm glad you brought that subject up, because it's a subject now that you guys better understand. You high schools.
Yeah.
And the pool just got bigger. The pool of players has gotten bigger. So there's going to be nonsense with all players at all times. Nothing is going to be perfect. But when the pool is bigger and there's more players, college coaches are less likely to deal with high school players' stuff that they have going on surrounding them than they are experienced guys that have been to college and that have actually produced in college. So that's the pool that you're up against as a high school senior. You're up against a pool of experienced players Players that have already been through the recruiting, they've already been through the hoopla. They're just trying to find a place for themselves where they can go and be successful. Whereas in high schools, a lot of times, we get kind of caught up in the hype, which is, I understand that. It's easy to get caught up into it. But at the end of the day, you need to be least likely to get caught up into it. Study, now understand, and do your research on these schools that's recruiting you right now.
Yeah, I don't even know how much experience you've had in this, but at Georgia State, we recruited a lot of transfers. And I've had a couple of grad transfers.
Was very, very successful and went to the NCAA tournament.
Appreciate it. Some good years. I had some good players over there. Yeah. So in my experience with transfers, this goes with the topic. We had very few people to deal with. The kids were a little bit more mature. They took control of the recruitment. You might have talked to a parent or two. I feel like I talked to an AU coach maybe once or twice, and I'm talking about out of a lot of transfers.
Yes.
I don't know if it's because they're older or if they know what they're looking for now because they've been to a school, so they understood what they were looking for. But those recruitments, again, were less peel with, and the kid or the immediate family knew exactly what they were looking for. Now, it's tougher because it's not apples and apples. It's apples and oranges. One kid has played, been recruited, been on recruiting visits, sat on a college campus, done different things. The other kid doesn't really know that experience. But we don't really look at it like that. The fact is, it was a direct conversation. They knew exactly what coach, this is the style I'm good in. This is how I like to be coached like this. I'm good in this kind of system. What are you going to do for me individual-wise? This is what we did at individuals where I was at. What's your practice schedule? How long do y'all typically go? Do you think I had an NCAA tournament team? How do I fit? You see, like the questions were different. You know what I'm saying? They're direct. And whether they come, they're direct.
They'll know what they're looking for.
And whether that's coming from a high school kid or a transfer, that's what we like. We actually like when you take.
No doubt.
Oh, this is my answer for that. How do you feel about it? So I just want to make sure we put that out there. All right. So now we're gonna stay on point. All right, 37 minutes. I feel good about this, y'all. All right, we're going into our players from our last week of the fall league. It was a great fall league.
Great.
I think the guys who I think it's a tough job for a volunteer coach to take over a group and try to coach them once a week and not have the opportunity to practice with them. So kudos to those guys for spending their time and their effort and coming out there and giving their best effort. Thanks to the players for coming out there. SUVtv obviously did an outstanding job as always with the streaming. Great job by Lake Point. Unbelievable. So let's make sure we go. Let's make sure we give some love to the kids who got love. The first kid up is you right here. Who do you got?
Ian Scheffler, baby.
Okay.
Grayson High School. Antonio Reynolds Dean.
Had to give Antonio a shout out.
Yeah, one of my best friends, man. I like Ian. I like what Ian can bring to a program. I think Ian, in my opinion, right now is a guy that you look at that's going to be a 4-year guy. He's really worked on his range. He's can really shoot the three. And what I like most about him is he plays hard. He's a guy that you can plug into a system and he can get some things done. You know what I mean? He's going to be a guy that when he gets to college, he may have some bumps in the road, some things like that, but he's going to be an everyday guy. And as you know, those guys that are everyday guys are guys that usually end up being successful. They may not light up the scoreboard, but he's going to be a guy that's going to be able to get a lot of things done. He can rebound. He can guard 4s and 5s. He's going to play a little bit of 4. He's going to play some 5. He can stretch the defense with his 3-point shooting. I really like Ian Scheffler. I really think I think Clemson did a good job of getting him. I think he's a guy that's going to be you're going to be able to plug into your system. He's going to understand. He's a smart basketball player. Use angles well on the post. I like Ian Scheffler. And, congratulations to Clemson on getting a good player.
Also, from everything I've ever heard, a great kid. I've never heard a bad word about him as a kid. Teammate. Really has a college-made body. And like you said, very skilled. And kind of fits the Clemson mold of a big guy who can do a lot of different things. So I agree with you. Good gift for him.
Brad Brownell guy.
No question about it. No question. Our next guy is a guy who's a little unheralded. And I had not heard of, to be honest with you, before the Fall League. I had never heard of him before. A guy named that's what put the platform and the stream by SUVtv gave me an opportunity to see this guy. and kind of see the numbers that he's putting up against higher level competition, and maybe say, take a couple looks at him. This kid pretty good. Dylan Woe out of Sequoia. So when you see him, he doesn't look like he's going to be a great athlete. So you're like, okay, we heard he's been putting up a lot of points. Let's see what he's going to do.
Yeah.
He has great elevation on his jump shot. Really, really, really good mid-range jump shooter. Like, and elevation on his jump shot is a skill and a lost art. Like, you don't see that. He's a great shooter. You see him shooting the technical fouls right here. He's the guy on his team. People are scouting and game prepping to stop him, and he's finding a way to score. You see right here, come off the screen, use different angles off the Iverson cut, and that's the elevation on the mid-range that we're talking about. He gets out of transition. He plays with a really good point guard. Coach Coach Keener, who coached me at Georgia Tech, his son is also the point guard over there. So he's another smart player for them. But you can see Dylan over here getting to the rim, reverse layups. And like I said, he's the guy on the team. People are trying to stop him. And he has a scoring package that is a little bit more impressive than you think. I don't know what level he is yet. I still want to see him a little bit more. But as you can see, the use of shot fakes and the ability to make jump shots, usually if you can put the ball in the hole at all three levels, coaches will find a way to get you on the court. So I'm interested to see what happens to him.
Yeah, I thought he had a really, really good fall league. I was impressed by him. Had never heard of him until the fall league. Watched him play a couple games, and I was really, really impressed, man. That's what I was really impressed with, the ability to shoot. I love players that can shoot it. I love players that can
Everybody shoot it. Does.
Yes.
Look at that elevation on the mid-range. Big-time shot right there.
Big-time shot. Big-time shot.
Let's go into your next guy, Jakai Newton.
My next guy is Jakai Newton. Man, I watched him play this summer. Really like this kid. Athletic, active. Love him. I think he's a guy that he's good in transition. I think he's worked on his jump shot. He's hit a couple jump shots here in the fall league. So it looks like he's trying to extend his range a little bit, but that's what he does right there.
What he does.
He gets after
That's what he does. Go ahead and rewind. Play that one more time. That's what he does.
If he gets that jumper more consistent with how hard he plays, I think he's a guy that some high majors is gonna take a look at. Look at that, just active, going hard.
You don't throw a high major a lot. That's pretty big statement by you.
High major, I like, but you know what? Playing hard is a skill, and that's what this kid does. It's become a skill. Mm-hmm. It used to be something that you are supposed to do at all times, but it's become a skill. So when you got a guy that plays hard, that brings his lunch pail and his hard hat to every game, every practice, we're always looking for those type of guys. And if he adds a consistent jump shot, sky's the limit for this kid. We already know he can put it on the deck and score, but this is what he does right here. Get out in transition, punish the rim. I love it.
And he's one of the few guys that can jump off one or jump off two. That's a rare. Usually guys can do one or the other. When you can do both, and especially if you can jump off your left foot, your right foot, and 2 feet, you're a special athlete.
Newton got a couple of young guys that people better take some notice to, and they better get on them early. I know one thing: they better get on before Jonas Hayes from Xavier gets on, because he's gonna offer them.
No question about it. And that goes into our next player. Matter of fact, while we stay on the thing, Jakai, he's all over the rim. How many dunks did he have in the fall league?
Plenty of dunks, man.
He's not even that big. Like, he just can't keep dunking like he's 6'8". What is he doing? All right, so our next guy is TJ Clark, Newton County. And TJ actually had a bigger rep than Jakai, but Jakai's kind of come on a little bit in this fall league and this summer. But TJ is the guy who had a bigger rep coming in. He's a guy who is a better shooter, and I think that's why people know he's a shooter with size. Yeah. And it's hard to find shooters with size.
No doubt.
Look, that's one of my favorite plays right there. Please show that again. When a guy just jumps up and steals the ball in transition, that puts terror into the eyes of the other point guard. Guards hate that. When you throw the ball and they just jump up and just snatch it. Look at this right here. They just jump up and just snatch it out of the air. They hate that. I love to see when guys do that. Then he finished with the English on the other side.
Good finish.
Really good jump shooter. He can shoot it from 3. He can put on the floor 1 or 2 dribbles and shoot the ball from mid-range as well. Getting better at what you saw right there, getting all the way to the rim. So he's been a 2-level guy trying to turn himself into a 3-level guy. And again, he has another good young player to play with down there. Showed a little bit of athleticism right here. When you see Jakai keep dunking every time, you feel like you got to dunk a little bit too.
Hey, Newton County gonna be a problem for some of these young boys.
And college coaches will be in the gym, just like you said. Definitely wanted to show some love to these two guys. College coaches will be all over them. T.J. Clark, Jakai Newton, two guys definitely to keep an eye on.
Okay, next guy, Jaden Harris from Norcross. All right, this guy had a good summer. He had a really, really good summer. He reminds me of a player that I coached at the University of Georgia, Charles Mann. Ooh. He's a guy with great size, can get downhill. He has a college-ready body right now. He's extending his range. His jump shot is getting a lot better. He made jumpers over the summer. He made jumpers in the fall league. What he's really, really good at is getting downhill and using his body and drawing contact to get finished layups or get to the foul line. I'm really proud of his growth. He came in very young with a really big rep. So I think a lot of people were looking for him to be the next coming of one of the greats to come out of the state of Georgia.
And Norcross, which has a huge reputation as well.
Norcross has a huge reputation. He's a great kid, very humble kid. He is working his tail off. I hope he gets the scholarship that he's looking for. I know that he wants to play at a high major. I think some of the lower level high majors may give him a look later in the year because he's a guy that if he starts to understand the point guard role and getting other guys involved, he's a guy that he's a big guard. You know how college coaches like big guards. And what I do like about him too is he'll defend.
But yeah, we've talked about this all show. Should he wait or should he find a program that likes him now and take his offer?
I think right now with the larger pool, he needs to take something. He needs to take something. If he has some schools right now that's looking at him, I wouldn't be concerned about trying to go as high as he wants to go. I would just be trying to go to a school right now that's
a good fit.
That's a good fit for him. As you can see, look at him. He gets after it on defense. He has a great body, man. He has a college-made body right there. Look at that. Finished with contact. I think he's had a great summer, man. He had a really, really good fall league. I'm proud of this kid. I'm proud of, the strides he's made. I know subconsciously he wants to be doing it even better, but at the end of the day, I want him, if he's watching, you played well and you helped yourself this summer and in the fall league.
The biggest thing, like you said, is his ability to make jump shots on a consistent basis. Always been able to get to the rim, always been able to use his physicality. But now that he can make threes and they have to come out and respect that more, that accentuates his ability to get to the rim. Great summer. I agree with you, Jaden Harris. And like you said, great kid. Know his dad well. Dad really wants him to do well. So happy for the kid. Last kid we got is Chase Cormier. And you got to be good when your last name is Cormier because it's like LaBarrie. The French names we always can hoop.
Oh Lord!
so he's at Green Forest out of Decatur. So he's Decatur with a French name. You know he can score. Like there ain't no question.
We had Ant from the West Side.
So Chase, left-handed kid, and we talked about it a couple of times. Left-handed kids are difficult to guard because their game is a little unorthodox. You see that? I mean, he can set you up. He has you thinking he's going left. One hard, quick dribble. He's into his mid-range game. He can make threes. Already starting to learn how to draw fouls and get to the free throw line, which is another skill. Like you talked about playing hard, getting to the free throw line is a skill too.
It is.
This is what surprised me. I didn't know he was the athlete that he is. Showed us some athleticism in the fall league. I always knew he could shoot it and score, but for him to be able to add some athleticism is pretty impressive. That dunk right there, that's an athletic play with some speed. So anytime, like we talked about it a couple times on this show, particularly and throughout this whole 4 weeks, if you can put the ball in the hole from deep, off of screens and on the move, college coaches will like you. He just got off from Xavier. You can see he's the guy on their team, team planning for him, and he's finding a way to get baskets in all kinds of different ways. Green Forest will play a big time schedule, so you'll find out how good he is against other type of high level players. And he's a guy who surprised me. I didn't know a whole lot about him. I mean, I had heard his name, and I knew he could score it a little bit. Had a pretty decent AAU year, but AAU was spotty this year. So to see what he did in the fall league on a consistent basis, I was pretty impressed with him.
I was impressed with him this summer. He had some big time games this summer against some pretty stiff competition. Obviously, it wasn't the competition of normal summers, but he played pretty well, man. He's putting himself on the map in the state of Georgia.
Definitely. I like how they threw that SUVtv on the end too, just to let y'all know.
Yeah.
All right. So, got another great show. I think we stayed a little bit more on course. We're at 50 right now. I'm happy. All right. I'm gonna let you get your final words in, and we're gonna close out the show.
Hey, again, parents, student athletes, understand these rules. If you got any questions, make sure you email us or text us, DM, whatever it is, whatever communication you need. If you need an understanding of these rules, we can go over them together, because you got two guys that's going to understand what these college coaches, not all college coaches, and I'm not saying every program is different, but for the most part, you got 15 years and 17 years of experience, and we know what's going on in some of those war rooms. So make sure you ask questions about these new rules, because that's going to make that pool of players bigger, and your decisions probably need to become a little bit more quicker than they've been in the past.
I agree. Thankful and humbled that you guys have come on here and continue to follow us and watch our show. Y'all don't know how much we appreciate this. It means a lot to us. More than anything, we want to use our platform to try to help people and spread love, especially in this crazy 2020. So the love that we receive from this, I'm glad that you guys are receiving some, but to be honest with you, the love that we're receiving is good for us right now too. We really, really appreciate it. So that's why we've continued to do it. We don't know where we're going to go from here. This might be the last episode. We might keep doing it. We're still in talks. But if y'all keep showing us love, we'll keep coming back, and we'll try to help in any way we can. LaBWork out. We appreciate you.